Hey, it's me, Magus, again. Today, I'm going to talk about Final Fantasy XIII-2. There will be spoilers in this video, so I suggest you leave if you don't want to be spoiled, and I will wait a moment for you to comply. Alright, I'm going to get this rolling. First of all, I'm just going to say the gameplay is decent, a step up from the original. That's pretty much all I have to say about that, basically. You have your two characters, you have your three interchangeable monsters that fill in for your third. They have different roles, whether it's healing or attacking, stuff like that. The monsters have their own limit break as the gauge fills up, so that's good. Minor gripes is that if your two human characters die, it's game over. And I still think that's full crap. And if you're gonna pull the monsters can't heal whoever without a human, it's like, okay, I can take that, but it doesn't mean the game should end right there. Because Final Fantasy VI, Umaro, a Yeti, he didn't give up. Not that I recall, anyway. So, I don't even know why people would even suggest that. The characters. I don't like the characters too much because I think they're over the top and all the dialogue is like super cheesy in a bad way. It's not Star Fox funny. It's not cheesy in a good way. And I think that detracts from the story that, tries to tell itself, but will probably leave you confused. Most likely. Could be wrong. But we'll see what happens when it releases in a couple days. Um, Basically, Lightning's sister, Sarah, wants to find her sister, who's supposedly believed by everyone to be dead. And basically, at the beginning, her clothes magically change, and that's just full crap to me, but it's a fantasy game, so whatever. The other character you can play as basically comes out of nowhere through some time portal. And he's sent on his way and, appears right before your main character and crap. And stuff happens and the adventure begins, I guess. But, the villain's okay. He has a good motive, but he's one of those sympathetic villains. And, that's been done a lot. I think every villain's been done, but they just keep on putting more and more and more sympathetic villains in most RPGs, and sometimes to me that gets a little old. I'd like a return to the ambitious warlord that you know what he wants, and you want to stop him. And that would make sense, but he basically has a love thing with a childhood friend and wants to stop her from dying. It's a good deed, but he goes about it the wrong way, and stuff happens. So, moving on, we'll go with the story. Basically, the first half hour of the game is the only time you play as Lightning in the actual game itself as a tutorial, which, people are either happy about it or afterwards they'll get all pissy about it, but that's them. I don't really care. But afterwards, it just goes to the other two heroes for the rest of the game with their entourage of Pokemon, basically. And basically, Lightning's only in that tutorial and a couple scenes, and she mostly narrates the game. Yeah, the story itself isn't that good, but that's to be expected. It's basically written by Toriyama. He's not the scenario writer, but he directs the scenario writer, so he's basically writing it. So don't pull that crap on me. And don't pull, well, you don't understand the story, or you haven't played it. That isn't going to work, because I've watched the streams and I've seen everything. So don't even go there with me. It's not that hard to judge a story by looking at the cutscenes and seeing the character reactions and how they act. I'm reading a translation that's being done slowly by Xi-Fang on LiveJournal. And that person is usually accurate in their translations, so yeah. And, next, I'm going to talk about the marketing of the game. I went to Walmart to plan out my purchase for a 3DS, and I noticed that they were advertising 13.2 there with just one of those side poster things, and it has Valkyrie Lightning on it, and that's it, and it just basically says coming January 31st. But I'm just pointing out that basically all the marketing, most of it, is just lightning this, lightning that, plastering her all over it, like they said in the beginning. It's a glorious adventure to find out if Lightning is happy or not. If you've been following this game, you know she isn't, and you know you're not really going on a glorious adventure with your main protagonist from 13. Quite the opposite. That's how Toriyama wanted it. He wanted a role switch between the two sisters. The only ironic thing is that Lightning technically saved her sister, while the other one kinda doesn't. Which is funny. But, anyway, that's what I think about the marketing. Another thing, with the trailers, they seem to want to point out the most obvious crap ever. It's like, do they really need to point out just this one thing? Like, you have multiple paths to travel. Well, really? I mean, really? Is that all you want to talk about? They have to separate the trailers to make it seem like there's a lot of stuff in it, which kind of isn't. They could have combined the Moogle trailer and the multiple paths trailer and exploration and, it's like, why couldn't you do that? But apparently they had to drag it out, so they did. I don't really like the characters, but that Moogle thing, it's a little on the chubby side and fat and tries to be cute, and ultimately, to me, it isn't cute, and I just want to kill the thing. But that's just me. I mean, some people have said that that might be the worst Moogle incarnation ever in the Final Fantasy series. So, yeah, I don't like it, so I hope it does die in the ending. Its little light beacon went off, so I assume it did. If it didn't, well, that's too bad. But, anyway, in the ending, it says to be continued, which means, and the game was basically I can't talk, incomplete. You paid $50, $60, and the great director or producer Toriyama said, hey guys, guess what? We're going to have lots of DLC. Not only is it going to be super boss material and extra costumes you may or may not care about, but we're also going to expand the game because we only gave you half the game to begin with, and we're going to make you pay more. Aren't you lucky? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Aren't you lucky? You can, there's going to be episodes that are similar to the after years, but yeah. If you want to pay for it, go ahead. I'm not, because I'm not getting the game, so yeah. But, yeah. And I've also recently learned that, the collector's, I looked at the collector's edition before, and it's pretty good. Yes, the game comes with the soundtrack and the 20-page art book, but since I'm a jerk, I'm just going to point out that Type 0 is coming out with a 300-page art book, and 300 beats out 20 pages, so I just wanted to point that out because I'm a jerk. But, yeah. Overall, I'm disappointed with it because, like I said, if I talked about the music, I only like half of it, and the lack of a victory fanfare is a big cringer for me because I'm used to it. Half the soundtrack's good. I agree with that. The Caius theme and the battle themes for him are just phenomenal. I like that composer who did it. It's common belief that Nobuo Uematsu did the 3 Chocobo themes, but actually he's credited for it, but it was actually arranged by another artist. So I just want to clear that up. And yeah. Basically, I like 1/3 of it, but the half the soundtrack is good. The other 2/3 I don't really care for. So yeah. But if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. There are different tastes in music, just like some people like country and I don't. And that's how it is. Most of the tracks I don't like are the vocal ones, and those were supposedly to appeal to the Western audience, but I've never liked the mainstream music over here, so, it doesn't really appeal to me. I don't know if it'll appeal to other people, but maybe it will. So far, the pre-orders for the game are good. I don't think the game's going to have any trouble with actual sales. I think it'll do probably about the same as Japan right now. It'll probably do around at least 700, between 700 to 900K, maybe more. I don't know. Depends on what people actually think of it. Like I said, I might dislike it. Maybe many other people are going to love it. But I don't like it, so yeah. Basically, one of the main reasons I dislike it is because my favorite character isn't in it. I always say, if Gilgamesh isn't in it, the game sucks. So, yeah, I said it. So now you don't have to say, why didn't you mention him? Well, I did. I will say though, if he does get added as DLC, I will shut up about hating this game. I will. But that's only if he comes with his battle theme. The Omega fight was just disappointing. It wasn't really a super boss, more like an easy boss, and I just think the little overload thing after he uses wave cannon is just retarded. It is. If you don't like that word, then it's stupid. I just don't see the point in it. It just makes it easier, and I think Omega is supposed to challenge you to the point of frustration, just like in Final Fantasy V. You had to be prepared. There were no buts, ands, ifs. You had to be prepared to beat this thing, this spider mech of doom. So yeah, kind of a little angry about it, but what are you gonna do, right? I was also mad he didn't get a remix of Final Fantasy V's boss battle theme. They used some other track. I forget the name. Most of the tracks for me are not memorable unless they're about Caius. Because those themes are just awesome. I'm going to say that right now. They're awesome. I love them. Worthy of boss themes and final boss themes. They're just awesome. Love it. But overall, I think the game is disappointing to me. If I were to review it and just give the rating, I would give it a 7 out of 10. That's what I think it deserves. Because I'm not going to be unfair about it. I legitimately think it deserves a 7 out of 10 for all it does. One last thing I didn't mention yet was graphics. The graphics are slightly decreased, but there's a reason for it. It's so that the Xbox 360 can fit everything on one disc. And that's all there is to it. I'm not big on graphics. I don't care if they're the best. I don't care if they're crappy. It's not what makes the game. the overall deliverance of the story, which probably didn't do well for me, and gameplay is what sells me. And I think the gameplay does pretty well. The story, not so much. I expect good stories out of RPGs. Now, if you want a really good story and game to play with great voice acting, like Legacy of Kain, love that game. Replaying it even as I speak. It's awesome. I love the main character. He's a sadistic vampire dude who, even if he's wrong, he's convinced he's right. So, yeah, it's awesome. But basically, in my opinion, I think Type 0 is better than 13-2. Of course, 13-2 is a sequel to the original game, so that might not be a fair comparison. But for me, I think it's kind of sad if I think a portable game is better than a console one. But who knows, maybe the DLC will change things, but I doubt it, highly doubt it. And my whole thing with DLC is that if you buy the game, the DLC that comes for it afterwards should be free. But I guess the company wants to make as much money as they can, so I don't blame them. But my whole thing is that I just think it should be free, because you support the company by buying their product, and they should in turn, if they want to add on content, support the game that you buy. And that's how I feel about it. Before I go, I'm just going to say one of my things I wish all games would do is that it has dual language. I don't care if it's a hassle, just make sure that it can even be subtitles at the least. Just make sure multiple people that have different languages can understand it. I don't care if it's the audio's in a different language, but the port to Chrono Trigger for DS, they did the dual text thing, and I think that was a pretty cool addition. I think all games should do it, and that should be a new rule, but that would make too much sense, and everything that makes too much sense is nonsense, so whatever. But that's me. But I'm looking forward to your comics. I can't talk, see? I'm looking forward to your comments, likes and dislikes, and I'm open to debate about this game, and if you think I'm wrong about anything, let me know, and I'll debate it with you. I can argue till I'm blue in the face. Oh yeah, I just remembered something about Goddess Etro that, never appears ever. Um, supposedly, after she supposedly died, gave humans what was known as arts or chaos or whatever. Um, Supposedly she was stripped of all her powers, but you know what? She has no problem using godlike powers, so I wonder what that's all about. I wonder if it's this Toriyama business. But that's all I'm going to say about that, and I'm just going to look forward to your comments and stuff and see where I go with this. I'm not going to hate on many things, other games, because I'm only going to hate on games I think I just need to hate on. So, but we'll see how well it does. If it does well, good. I just hope that the additional DLC clears all the questions and stuff up. That's the real problem I have. I have questions that don't get answered, or they just open up more questions, and you're all like, ah, But some people say that they are going to buy the game anyway, but, well, sometimes they're going to be wrong about that. Sometimes people don't plan on getting the systems these games are for and just, read about them and go that way, or just watch an online walkthrough. That's what I'm going to do. So, can't really pull that on me. But, I'll see you next time, and, there's anything that you want me to talk about, go ahead and suggest it, and I will gladly make a video of me talking about it, because I like talking about this stuff, and I think making these videos is a lot of fun. But I'm going to stop running my mouth, and I'm going to end this now. So, hope you enjoyed it or whatever. So, I'll see you later.